Hello, Object Show friendos. Hope you're all doing well, taking care of yourselves, feeling awesome, or as awesome as you could possibly feel. We're back for episode 9 already of Object Show Roundup. Little bit of aside stuff. I helped a friend move on Monday, and I am covered in bruises. I am all of the ow, all of the everywhere. There are things hurting I didn't think could hurt. It's like I didn't know there was a muscle there. Ow. But anyway. It was a super fun time though, and I am always up for helping people out. So it was really good. It was a really good day. Like I say, very sore still, and it was 4 days ago. But yeah, whatever. And a quick update on our Trevor project fundraiser for this month, which I did mention in the last episode. Just as a refresher, if you didn't happen to watch the last one, I am raising money for the Trevor project, which is advocacy and support. Charity for young LGBTQIA plus folks, and yeah, raise money for them. I don't need a reason to, but like I was kind of not pushed is the wrong word. I was kind of like more motivated to raise money for them after a run-in with a, not so nice person on an animation epic short. Which, funny enough, the short was talking about LGBTQIA plus representation in the show. So, yeah, they were in the wrong place to be dropping that kind of stuff. And it was directed at my kiddo, who is non-binary. So, yay, thanks for that. You're just helping raise money for charity now, essentially. So, anyway, we're off to a pretty good start. We got 40. We got $40. I forgot. Got $5 just before I started recording. We're up to $40 in that campaign so far. Initial target's 500. It would be fun to get more than 500 because I do have incentives for more than $500. But 500 is the initial one. If we get there, I'll be over the moon. And to be honest, you only need to donate up to $250 to get there because I'm doing a donation match to the campaign up to $250 myself. So we've got 40, but essentially that means we've got 80, so we're doing pretty good. We're getting closer and closer to the first incentive, which is me eating some super spicy cotton candy. Yay! So yeah, it's going good. If you can donate, that would be awesome. If you could just share the campaign around, that would also be awesome. Whatever you could do to help will help. So the link to the campaign is in the description below. Please go check it out if you can. Now let's dive into some Object Show updates, shall we? We've got 2 new episodes of things to talk about. Updates on episodes of things coming out, and just a few little bits and pieces other than that here and there. But we're starting off with a brand new episode of something, and it's episode 9 of It's Time for the... So as always, I will say before we get started that there are obviously going to be spoilers for It's Time for the in this discussion. So if you haven't had the chance to watch any of the show yet, better get on that. Go check out Derpadon's channel, watch It's Time for the, because it's really good. Probably the most... Now... Okay, of the ones I've watched, probably the most chaotic Object Show, I think, on my list. But it's really good. Check it out for sure. But like I say, if you haven't watched any of it yet, probably skip to the next chapter in the video because we are going to be diving into this episode 9, and there will also be mention of previous episodes. So I don't want to spoil previous episodes either for anybody. Okay, everybody good? Okay, let's move on then. So, episode 9 is called Dodge Tire. Yeah, I didn't know what was coming on this one, to be honest. The title didn't quite give it away. But we start off with TI-30 still being on a killing spree, which started in the last episode. Basically, just gone completely bonkers, chasing everybody around like, I'm just going to annihilate everybody. Kind of like lost it during the previous challenge. So I was chasing Wheel around at the beginning of the episode. Clock then appears and attempts to announce the prize results, but gets interrupted.
9 o'clock! That was weird.
It was very interesting that Clock clearly gets smashed and is then just fine again afterwards. Because as the host, it's usually the host that does the reviving of dead characters, so how did the Clock just recover themselves? I don't really know. Either way, Clock announces the prize vote results. Norway got the least. Then TI-30 appears and kills Norway. And it turns out that they're next in the results. Then our good buddy Words with Friends Tile, I'm just going to call him Tile from now on to make things easier, And then polka dot. When Clock mentions polka dot, though, Clock realizes that she's not around, so he reaches up into the... There's probably another name for this on the wiki that I haven't looked into yet, but it's like it's a portal with like polka dots. So I'm just going to call it the polka portal, just because I like alliteration, and pulls it down from there.
Oh, silly polka dot. Why do you keep going up there? The competition is down here, all right?
Competition? What's the prize?
Here, take no weight, and I'll be right back for the challenge.
Maybe Green was right. You would have wanted to leave as well. You seem to be in a good mood.
Everyone is acting so strange today. What's the occasion? Did you see the weird clock and calculator guy, by the way?
Polka dot?
But it's interesting because she doesn't seem to know what's going on. She doesn't know there's like a contest happening, and doesn't know anything about who Clock or TI-30 are. But they're the only two. They're the only two that she mentions. Clock and TI-30. So I don't. That's the first little weird, interesting part of this episode. But we'll go more into that later on. Clock announces that Wheel did win the vote and can have a prize, which is weird because Wheel's technically not actually in the contest at the moment. Got eliminated. But I don't know. Anyway, Wheel does ask that TI-30 be stopped. And yeah, Clock obliges.
Howdy.
So yeah, TI-30 just claims now to be the same old TI-30 you all know and love. Bingo bongo. Oh, you know, from this point onwards, I knew this was going to be an absolute cracker of an episode, to be honest. I just knew it. So then Clock revives Tile, announces that Sun's out of the game as they flew into the sky and don't seem to be coming back down. So essentially the sun has gone where the sun's meant to be. This, I don't know all the ins and outs of this. It could be just due to the voice they were using for Sun maybe not being available anymore. I don't know, because either way, Sun is not in the game anymore. So Clock is like, hey, Wheel, do you want to rejoin the challenge? Rejoin the contest even? You know. So yeah, Wheel's like, sure, why not? Tile then announces, I'm out, and tries to leave, but Clock says, no, you got to stick around, you're not out, you got to play the challenge, Dodge Tire. So yeah, the premise of Dodge Tire is pretty simple. It's like dodgeball, except it's a giant tire chasing you, and you're not just going to get hit by the tire, you'll probably be annihilated by it. So yeah, just avoid being caught / killed. Most likely killed by the giant tire, yeah. So then the challenge begins. Poof, why not just get straight on with it? Will gets accidentally shot by TI-30 in flipping sheriff mode. He's showing off his shooting skills. So Will gets shot. He starts deflating. Polka Dot then has another interesting moment, shall we say.
Hey, that kind of looks like me. Is it me? No. That'd be ridiculous. Whoa! Hi! What's your name, Blob Boy? 'Cause Loki, who are you? Whoa. I think I'll call you Ian. Is that okay with you?
You know, despite Polka Dot possibly being an alternate version of Polka Dot right now, or a weird memory erased version of Polka Dot, whatever's happened to her, she's still my favorite character. She's just got this aura to her that I just really enjoy. It's like, I don't know, I kind of gravitate towards certain kinds of characters, and I guess Polka Dot is just one of those kinds of characters. It's just like, this is who I want to win the whole thing. And, you know, she has a lot of ties to the whole lore of the show, really, because those Polka portals, they connect to all of these other channels, because that's what it's time for. There's Channel 57, And then there's all these other every other portal leads to another channel. It's very odd. It's very interesting. And that's going to come into play at some point, more so. It's already come into play quite a lot in the episodes, but I know there's going to be more to that for sure. I mean, also the portal just dropping out that random being, that's something that could lead to future plot points too. It's already happened. We've already had characters pop out of portals before. In episode, which episode is it? 4, I think. It's the one where there's new contestants get to join. So a lot of new characters just pop out of the portal. So it's happened before. I also have to quickly mention a quick little inside joke that occurs during this scene as well. Where there's a tiny little split-second pop-up that's like, I'm not animating this, mind gags. And it's like, I love this. It's time for that does this quite often, and it just shows the fun that everybody has working on the show together, and like they don't mind just dropping in these little jokes, and sometimes there's little side notes, like there's like it's like reading out things, just saying, and this is when this happens. And this is when this, and as the thing's actually happening, there's like a voiceover of what's meant to be happening in the scene. It's great because you get to see the behind the scenes stuff in the show itself. It's such it's a really cool way of blurring the lines and breaking the fourth wall down. It's very fun. I really do enjoy it. Please don't ever stop doing that. I find it flippin' hilarious. Anywho, we cut back to the Dodge tire, and there's a little screen on it, and it says that it's scanning clock. Interesting. Clock seems a bit nonplussed by this, which is interesting, because the clock announced the challenge with Dodge tire, so did clock not spawn the Dodge tire? Who knows where the hell this thing came from, if clock doesn't even know what it can do. TI-30 and Tile then work together to save Wheel, and then Tile declares himself to be a hero, bruh. But anyway, Wheel's like, no, you're not. And then afterwards, TI-30 gives Tile his own little Stetson. It's so cool. He gives him a little hat and says, you know, it's a really cute little moment, actually. It's very fun. Anyway, back up to the sky, because Polka Dot flew up there to get away from the tire. And Ian is turning clouds into letters as Polka Dot's flying them around. And Polka Dot has a fun, cute little moment too, like chomps down on a cloud and like turns it into something. It's really fun. It's just really interesting, but you know that something else is going on here. It's not just doing random letters in the sky. You know that's going to spell something out. That's clear and obvious that that's going to come back into play later in the episode. But Clock does notice them up there and goes, oh, that's cheating, and pulls them down. Nowhere, by the way, spends most of this episode being chased by the Dodge tire. Like pretty much the whole episode, Nowhere's like, just the one that the Dodge tire is focused in on. There's a couple of brief moments of respite where the tire does focus on somebody else very briefly, but Nowhere's the main target, unfortunately for them. So then Wheel's rubber cover's completely deflated by this point and falls off. So in a moment of just typical Wheel anger, he just kind of whips it at the Dodge tire, and it knocks Clock out of the middle of the Dodge tire, and Clock, so Dodge tire's running solo now. Wheel then starts running with Nowhere, and just, yeah, they have a little bit of a chat. Nowhere then falls over, and that's when it looks like Nowhere's done. Out, probably. I mean, there's a big explosion and a scream. It seems pretty clear cut to me. But I guess you never know. You never know. We'll find out later in the episode, I guess. Then we cut to the Eliminator contestants, who did pop back recently because Wheel came back with them. So, you know, we've got Fell Container, we've got Green, we've got Refill Station, and we've got 57 Ball. Just sitting next to a cliff. Doesn't seem like a very good place to be sitting, really.
What?
It's hugging and they're gonna leave me away!
Refill station!
Refill station!
So yeah, it turns out it wasn't a good place to sit. But anyway, after that fall happens, Wheel just starts running across the water. So Wheel's still fine, but the Dodge tire is also chasing him. Wheel can run fast enough to run on water, by the way. Add that to random Wheel facts. Wiki. But then we cut to Forky, who we haven't seen since episode 6. when he got stuck in a wall underground near the core of the planet. But it's only a super brief moment because Wheel and Dodge then run around the planet so damn fast. It's like, and we just get a little thing. R.I.P. Forky. So that was just the briefest moment. Sorry, Forky fans. Returned and then immediately didn't return any more. Well, you know, a brief cameo is better than no cameo, I suppose. Okay, so after that funny little cameo scene, we cut to a bunch of the new characters who didn't make it into the show. So I talked about them earlier, and I was wrong. It wasn't episode 4, it was episode 5. I was only one episode off. That's not too bad, to be honest. It could have been worse. So we cut to them. Wheel and Dodge Tire zoom past them, and Fuel Pump gets broken free from the ice along with Well. And then there's just like we just get a random song. We just get a random song because why not? Why not do that?
Coming up the south is real cold. After seeing it all, it got really old, man. You can't keep.
I'm frozen, out the ice and the emotion. I'm freezing. Paralyzed your companions, taking a break to process emotion. Deep underwater, not floating. Still traumatized, I've been ghosted. Felt your presence up in the ocean, miles from shore. I'm still out here soaking. To be with a person you really dig. Find out the game is a waving rig. Ticked off, stuck in your limiting. A slow jam, it don't fix everything. Below zero, I'm him, her hero, changing these chairs. The TV clear, shining, glowing. Singing through a needle, back in the water, in the boat. I steer on the past tense. I've been trying to decipher the masses. I see 5150s in action. Slow it down and respect the traction. It's attractive, it's attacking, it's offensive. It needs some passion and the energy to slay a dragon. It's a fantasy, not a mystery, you know. Once I show you all my tactics.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What does this mean?
So yeah, anyway, it looks like Fuel Pump and Well are now just free from that little being stuck there, and they just wander off at the end. Looks like they've got a friendly relationship going on there. They definitely hung out a bit together during that song, so that's cool. I want to see more of those two. Actually, I want to see more of the contestants that didn't get in, just in general, to be honest. It's like there's so much potential with all of these characters. But anyway, after that, we cut back to the remaining contestants discussing the Dodge Tire. And then it rolls into view, seemingly out of power. It's all sparking and stuff, and then it just goes boom. So it looks like we might be done, and maybe these contestants that are left are all going to count as having won the challenge. But no, of course not. The scan that the Dodge Tire did earlier activates, and it creates a robotic version of Clock with guns for arms. Give me Mega Man vibes a little bit. Or Tile says Metal Mario. Oh, I guess, both, I guess, could work. Anyway, this new robo clock chases everybody, and they come across a destroyed clock. So this is from when Wheel knocked Clock out of the Dodge Tire. Or, potentially, and I don't know how this would make any sense, but potentially it's just from the beginning of the episode when TI-30 destroyed Clock. Either way, Clock gets trashed twice in this episode. So I don't. But there's permutations. If this broken clock is the one from the beginning of the episode, no, there's I don't know. There's time messing around stuff going on here because in the previous episode, Clock got stuck in the sun for a while and fast forwarded. Time moved on really, really fast, and we had this kind of view of the future and stuff. And it's just like, if Clock gets destroyed, does that also mess with time, or does it mess with timelines? Is that maybe why Polkadot doesn't know what's going on in this episode? Too many things in brain that can't figure out with this show. Anywho, after they find the destroyed Clock, everybody looks at Wheel accusingly, because, it's like, who else would destroy Clock, I guess? But Wheel doesn't really get the chance to explain what happened.
What in tarnation?
What are you all looking at me for?
Ah!
gotta say that was a bit of a rough death, that one. I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna stick one on the 2 dark counter for that one. Yeah, I think that can go in there. You know, some of the other deaths are just quick and to the point. This one was sounded painful, gotta say. Well, yeah, that scream did it for me, I think. Then after that, TI-30 sacrifices himself to save Tile, gives a very moving speech before dying about tumbleweeds not actually being animals, which I never knew. So you learn something new every day. I thought you could have a pet tumbleweed, but no, apparently not. You learn something new every day. Roboclock is still chasing Polka Dot and Ian, but then Polka Dot makes a snap decision.
Sorry about this, Tile. You ready, Ian?
Hey, what? Wait, bro.
So yeah, Polka Dot does kill Tile to stop Roboclock. I mean, look, if this is the thing. This could be construed as, you know, a bad thing that Polka Dot did. Polka Dot had to do it, right? Still my favorite character regardless. I don't care. You're not going to change my mind. But then Polka Dot does notice that Ian wrote Titanium Plateau in the sky. See? Knew something was getting written up there. It wasn't just random letters. And then realizes that that's where Ian came from. So she takes him back there. They both hop over there. And they have a nice little moment. And then as soon as she steps back through the portal, she gets cleaned up by the bloody Dodge tire, doesn't she? That's the end of the episode. So well done, everybody, for getting killed in this episode. So anyway, everybody's up for elimination, including Clock. I guess technically that dying during the challenge, I guess that means Clock also failed the challenge, I suppose. How is that going to work? Not for a second do I believe that Clock is actually going to get voted out of the show. But could you imagine the host gets voted out? This is just another absolutely chaotic thing to add to the list of chaotic things that have happened in its time for the... Oh, jeez. We then cut to Hourglass. There's a repeat clip of him falling from a ledge from episode 7. He just falls into the polka dot, the polka portal, ether, I guess, in episode 7. But then he drops somewhere else. He's got totally different animation style. It's like he's totally warped into a different design entirely. So don't know where the heck he is, but he just wanders off, and the credits start. It's like, okay, are we going to see Hourglass again? Who knows? There's all kinds of little things going on here, and you never know who's going to pop up where. And the show just keeps you guessing. That's one of the things I really do enjoy about it. But then, as always, after the credits, there is... I say as always. I don't even know if it's been every single episode, but there's a post-credit sequence. Shows another Clock. Looks slightly more defined and maybe a bit more realistically drawn than the host Clock. Actually called Lucas. Lucas is either Coakley or Cockley. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but I found out that that's what their name is because I was like, I'm going to check if this character has a name. They do. The only one that has an actual name. Maybe they all have names in the show, but we just don't know what they are. But anyway, it's a follow-up post-credit sequence from the last episode where he was about to get on a bus. He gets on the bus, and then it flies up in the sky towards a rift in the sky, which is the same rift we saw in episode 6. So again, all these little connections back to previous episodes. It's like it's always worth rewatching something before another episode drops, because if there's usually a little bit of time between episodes. So I watched all of the first 8 episodes again before episode 9 dropped, and I managed to make some of these little connections when I watched it. It's still hard because there is a lot of stuff going on amidst all of the chaos, but that's interesting. The Lucas stories in the post-credit sequence, I think, are just going to maybe build up to a little side story that's going on. But it's interesting too, because lots of stuff that we see in Lucas's sections connect to things that are actually happening in the contest. There has been a few of those. Like, there's connections between what's going on in Lucas's surroundings and how a contestant gets eliminated. Like, when Felt Container gets eliminated, Felt Container turns into, like, a weather channel. And Lucas, in the post-credit sequence, is watching a weather channel on the TV. So, there's these little weird... And, like, what with there being all these different channels, every little, like, portal leads to another channel. Lucas was watching TV, flicking through channels. So, there's this connection. There's clearly a connection going on there. But I don't know where it's going. I haven't got a clue. I don't even want to try and theorize on that. All I'll say is, absolutely cracking episode of It's Time for the... Again, it was just completely bonkers and off the wall, as expected. And really good job, everybody. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's fantastic. We did also get an update from Derpadon just yesterday. Sorry, it wasn't from Derpadon. It was from 342 Ball. So just to announce that the captions had been done for this episode, there's a minisode coming in a couple of weeks, so we're gonna have another little thing. Don't know if it's gonna be canonical to the main story, if it's gonna be a little silly one-off side thing. Also, It's Time for the 9 got 17 on the YouTube hype leaderboard. That's pretty cool. Top 20. That's flipping really good, actually. Object shows just keep winning, and there's just no denying that. They just keep rocking and rolling. And it's really heartening to see. So, more of that, please. So, by the time this episode comes out, Object Invasion 6 will be out. Fury of 1,000 Suns. And that's going to finish off it's the final part of like a trilogy of episodes that started with For the Love of My Game. And then we had All at Once, which was the start of the Battle Royale, and this episode is going to wrap up the Battle Royale itself. So that will be out by the time this drops. That's going to get talked about in next week's episode, obviously. Dropping episodes on a Friday, good but bad, because it means I have to wait a whole week to talk about it, but it also gives me a whole week to go through it, and this might be good for Object Invasion 6, because apparently it's like half an hour long, so that's quite a bit more to go through than usual, so expect a proper breakdown of that one in the next episode. But you should go watch it, because it'll already be out. Now let's talk about ITFT who did drop a little outtake and just goofing around video, recording some of the lines. This is really fun. Don't trust that red bar on that screenshot. That YouTube lies. I've watched the whole video. It's just really fun. They're just hanging out, goofing around, recording the lines together. And it's just all of the different takes of the lines and just silly little mistakes and silly little moments. And it's just really fun. It was really fun. And thanks IFA for uploading this. See, this is the kind of thing I love this too, right? Not everybody's going to sit and watch it, but it's just a nice little bonus, for people who are just like, oh, sure, I'll sit and watch this. It's just, I like this. I like the behind the curtain stuff. It's really cool to see. And also, at the end of the video, there's just a random clip of me talking about Orc 2. I'm not going to tell you exactly what the clip is because I want you to go watch the video. But yeah, thank you so much for just including me so randomly in the video. I was not expecting that. I was just sitting looking at my phone and I got a YouTube notification to say, that this video was out. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, I'll check that out later. And then I got another notification like about an hour-ish later. I was like, I already got a notification about this video. And I noticed the notification didn't just say, that the video was uploaded. It said, mentioned you. I was like, what? Couldn't believe it. Oh, so I don't know what to say. It's like I wasn't expecting that at all. But now I'm concerned that I'm going to get randomly dropped into things here and there, like maybe split-second things, and people are going to be like, let's see how much attention he actually pays to things when he's actually going through them. Let's see if he picks up on this one. I'm concerned, but also overjoyed. This was really cool to be included. All right, let's move on over to Jack and Jellyfy now, and we got a little mini-sword in the form of a short. Grandfather Clock and Metronome, who, they are from Object Animators Toolbox, which is the course that was used to be on Graphy that Michael did. It's not there anymore, but apparently if people did buy the course and still have Graphy, I think they still have access to it. But anyway, these two characters just have reappeared. We did get a teaser about this, which I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. Was it last episode? Time means nothing. Anyway, we did talk about this because we got a little shot and we could see the silhouette of Grandfather Clock in the background. And I was like, doesn't that be like a clock? It was Grandfather Clock. And yeah, this was like a nice, fun little short. I don't know how to pronounce. It's Lamad Bro or Elmad Bro. Anyway, Lamad's like, let's make a deal. But anyway, they put together this short. Absolutely good stuff. It's just really funny. It's just a silly, goofy little, like, kind of a little one-shot series. It looks like they're just going to be taking part in, like, just shenanigans. There's no, like, it doesn't look like there's going to be any big overarching plot to these shorts. It's just these two hanging out and being an odd couple, basically. It's just like the whole, just silly, goofy, hanging around kind of stuff. First episode was really fun. There's not really tons to say about it. Except it's just a little bit of fun, and I enjoyed it. That's it. Okay, let's move over to another new episode that came out from MationsBomb. Orbit 2 did arrive. It's called Where's Sticky? So, again, spoiler warning, if you have not watched Orbit, there will be spoilers. Especially for Orbit 2, since we're mostly talking about Orbit 2, but spoilers for Orbit 1 a little bit as well. So, if you haven't watched those yet, again, go watch them. They're both really good episodes. There's a really good premise going on here, and I think we've got something really good cooking here. For sure. So, yeah. If you haven't watched them yet, and you plan on watching them, then wander on over to the next chapter of the video. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay. We all good now? Perfect. So Orbit's premise is fairly simple-ish. The idea is there is a bunch of characters. Their task is to guard an orb. And here's the thing. The very beginning of Orbit, there's a little story that says that, like, all these planets that have orbs. Now, someone's been going around stealing orbs from planets, and that essentially kills the planet. So that's the premise. In episode 1, they're just all hanging out doing their thing. Well, being silly and chaotic, as objects will tend to be, I guess. And a random character just appears. House. And just wants the orb. Offers to guard the orb for them. So they can all just go and do whatever they want. Because they're all stuck here guarding this orb, right? They're in I think they're under a dome. And there's a specific bunch of people who've been picked to guard the orb, so they're stuck there. So House is like, I'll do it for you. That doesn't quite fly. So House is like, well, why don't we play a game? And I'll grant whoever wins a wish. So there you go. That's the premise. Everybody does join, although Sticky, the character who is named in this episode title, is not so convinced, but decides to join in anyway. So that's it, basically. That's the premise. So episode 2 starts on a dark and stormy night. Sorry. But it does. As cliche as it seems. It's rainy, it's thundery, it's stormy. And all the contestants are bunkered up in a cabin. Except for Sticky. They're trying to find out where Sticky is. So Broccoli wanders in and says that she can't find Sticky. So that does indicate that they are trying to find her. We see House floating around outside, looking a bit dejected. And he comes across the cabin and still looks a bit sad before going into the cabin too. So I don't really know what the deal is with House. I think House is maybe a bit worried about something, but don't know what. The players all tell House that Sticky's missing. Icepack suggests, hey, you have magic powers. You could probably find Sticky, like, straight away. House deflects this suggestion and says, Toasty can go do it. Yeah. So Toasty gets Toasty gets convinced to do it.
No umbrella? Oh well, my adventure awaits.
So then we have the montage, a very fun little montage of Toasty looking for Sticky, but only finding ants and a bee's nest, which is a callback to the first episode when Toasty winds up a bunch of bees. But Toasty and bees just don't seem to get along very well. Toasty does eventually find Sticky guarding the orb, which, you know, in hindsight isn't that much of a surprise, since, as I mentioned, House does seemingly want to get a hold of the orb, and Sticky's seemingly the only one suspicious of House for some reason. I don't know why none of the other players, contestants, characters have really picked up on this.
What you doing?
I'm guarding the orb since none of you care to do it anymore. Ever since this dumb competition started up, I've been doing it myself the past few days.
If you hate the competition so much, then why did you join it?
I mean, it wouldn't much of a show, I guess, if they all just said no flat out and just, you know, kicked House out of the dome. I don't know. Anyway, but, you know, it is all of their jobs to guard the orb. So Sticky's just doing a job. But Sticky does head back to the cabin with Toasty, and House starts announcing the results of the elimination votes. There is a fun little moment, though, before the votes get announced, with TNT wondering where the votes came from.
Wait, votes? Voters? Who?
Oh, the votes were for my siblings.
Wowie, that's a lot of siblings.
But I did find it interesting that House tries to hide where the votes came from. It's there's something going on there too. It's like, nobody's watching you. Is that one of the whole premises? Is that House does this and then broadcasts it for other people to watch? I don't know. It's pretty fun though. Anyway, TNT's the first one safe. Yay, my second favorite contestant. Then Croissanti, who's revealed to be Toasty's cousin. I don't think we knew that in episode 1, but House knows it, which is also interesting. How does House know that? House clearly knows more than we think. The bottom two are then revealed to be Toasty and Broccoli. But just before the announcement gets made, Sticky interrupts and says that she's quitting the game because she wants to actually focus on her job, which is guarding the orb. And then she storms out. Sticky was my favorite contestant. Can still be my favorite character, but she's my favorite contestant. But I guess now I don't have to worry about the stress of whether she's going to get voted out or not. So anyway, that's what happens. So because that happens, House does announce that Toasty would have been the one safe and Broccoli would have been the one to have been eliminated. But because Sticky's wandered away and quit the contest, Broccoli can stay because now technically a player is still out. So Broccoli lives to fight another day. House announces that the contest is an art challenge. The players have to draw House. And this is when TNT notes that she's an artist. So technically this should be an easy challenge for her to win, right? You would think so anyway. So everyone gets started. Croissanti wanders up to House holding the tin of red paint and asks House to model so that they've got a reference for the picture.
Ah, Croissanto, you're looking for reference. Say no more, I'm your model. How do you want me to pose? Sassy. Modern. Realistic?
Queso.
Impressionist, cubist, pop art,
also-
abstract, I guess this works too.
And I really like that clip because it actually shows, funnily enough, because this is an art challenge, that clip there highlights all of the actual artistic talent working on the show itself. So cool to see all those different styles and it's just really clever. I really like the way they did that. It's like, it's an art challenge. Here, let's us all do some art as well. Very cool, very fun. Really like that. Icepack runs to House, asks for a larger paintbrush because, well, he seems to think that will help him finish the picture quicker. Bigger paintbrush, faster picture drawing. I mean, there's logic there somewhere, I guess. I'm not sure what kind of logic, but it's some kind of logic. But upon being asked that, though, House makes what I find to be an interesting comment.
House, give me a huge paintbrush. Why? What do you mean why? Just hand it over. My powers are sort of limited at the moment due to the storm.
So if House's powers are weakened by storms, that's something that could come into play later in the story. So like if House is trying to maybe just take the orb near the end of the show, perhaps a storm kicks in and maybe they get weaker, and I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know where this story is going to go at all at the moment, because it doesn't look like it's going to go well for anybody if House does get hold of the orb. But I don't know. Perhaps there could be a twist. House might actually not be the same entity that's been stealing the orbs. Maybe House is there. Do you know what? Too much conjecture right now. I'm not going to think about this too much. I'm going to keep going through the episode because there is a little bits and pieces that might play into this potential theory. Anyway, TNT heads outside with an umbrella to try and chase down a picture of House that's slapped against the window. She wants to use that as her reference picture, but the rain does mess with her, like, electronics. So, not so good. Not so smart to run outside in the rain if, you know, it's going to kill you. Right? I mean, so she starts banging on one of the cabin's windows behind Broccoli, but she doesn't notice until seemingly just before TNT is about to die / explode / well, both. House then teleports to Sticky, just to cut to just to give us a little bit of suspense on the TNT situation. House goes to Sticky, still guarding the orb. They have a little bit of a chat about the contest, how House just wants to make sure she's fine, asks if she wants to go back to the cabin where it's warm and not raining, but she says no. So House just heals her as she's soggy from the rain.
All right, I'll just heal you for now. Better? I was trying to make you smile.
Can you just leave me alone?
So to me, it's interesting that House is so concerned about Sticky. Does seem genuinely concerned. It could just be a ruse. It could just be House like trying to make sure they keep being nice to everybody, and maybe trying to win Sticky over so that she's not paranoid about him, or maybe House does genuinely care about her. This is the thing. This is where my brain's kind of House is. No, I'm going to say it. I think House is just trying to be a master manipulator here. I think that's what it is, because there's other elements of this episode that indicate that House is indeed evil. So I don't know. I think I'm going to have to... House has me all over the place in my brain. It's like, I don't know. Surely House is a malevolent entity. Surely. Why am I trying to see the good in everybody? I always do this. It's like, I was like, no, it can't be that bad. There's got to be something good hiding under the surface somewhere. I've got to stop doing that. Sometimes bad is just bad. So yeah, we come back to the cabin where Toasty is using Croissanti to shoot ice cubes that he stole from Ice Pack earlier to draw his picture. It's very Rocky-esque. Croissanti's like just letting out these ice cubes. And then we cut back over to Broccoli, who is now having a debate with herself over whether she should save TNT or not. Because TNT is a strong competitor, an artist, and House can revive her anyway if she dies, right? After a little bit of inner monologue, well, actually, it's very out... Is it inner... Anyway, after a lot of monologuing, she does decide to help her, but only in return for a favor. It's like, if I save her from the storm... maybe I can get her to do the challenge for me or something along those... So we see Broccoli's little bit of scheming side coming out now. Might not bode well for Broccoli in the long run, because Broccoli would have been eliminated if Sticky hadn't walked out of the contest. So we'll see. That might not play very good for Broccoli further down the line. Could potentially get them through this challenge, but who knows what the next challenge is going to be. That look ain't gonna last forever. The scheming can last forever, depending on what the challenges are, I guess. Broccoli might scheme her way through to the final. That would be interesting. Anyway, when Broccoli is out saving TNT, the picture of house that TNT was chasing just slaps right into Broccoli's face. So she puts it in her head and then walks back into the cabin. Toasty decides to celebrate finishing his picture by ordering some pizza. So we do know now that they do have contact with people outside of where they all are guarding the orb, this little area. So they can do things like order pizza, I suppose. So that's an interesting little development. They seemed very kind of not stuck where they were, but we didn't see any indication of anyone else in that first episode. So this is the first time we see people outside. So interesting thing to note. We see Sticky still guarding the orb, once again soaking wet from the rain. So she leaves her post and starts walking back to the cabin. So I don't know if this is just her belatedly taking House up on the offer to go back to the cabin, or if she just wants a break from the orb, or I don't know. It's interesting that she makes that decision though. But House appears on the door as she's about to open it, like face on the door, scares her. She falls into a puddle, and she's already wet, so she's like she just flops in there. The House heals her again. But she does say thanks this time. Although, to be fair, she still looks very kind of, angry about the whole scenario. But she does say thanks. Then we go back into the cabin where TNT offers to do the challenge for Broccoli. Broccoli doesn't ask. Broccoli's like, I guess I'll go back to my painting. And then TNT's like, oh, well, you saved my life, so I'll do this for you. It's just what Broccoli wanted. Broccoli got her way. Sneaky. Ice Pack also asks for help, but TNT's like, no. I'm not doing everybody's work for them. We then see Croissante's art, which Toasty is like absolutely amazed by. He's like, oh, this is beautiful. To be honest, Croissante does a pretty good job. Probably a better job than I would have done trying to draw a house. So good job, Croissante. Pretty good. House and Sticky then have another conversation. And then Sticky eventually just says, look, just leave me alone. Just stop following me everywhere. I don't trust you. I don't think she doesn't say that, but she insinuates that she just doesn't want anything to do with the contest, doesn't want anything to do with House. Fair play. Makes me a little bit concerned for Sticky, though, because going back to my previous thoughts, yeah, House is just trying to get Sticky on board and just trust them. But that's obviously not going to work. But the extent of House's powers, he could probably just make Sticky disappear pretty easily. But obviously that would raise suspicions amongst the other people, right? Like literally it would be another case of where's Sticky, right? So that would be a risky move on House's part. But if they can't win Sticky over, might take some drastic measures. I'm worried for Sticky. I'm worried that I'm worried that Sticky's going to be gone. I hope not. But if she remains the only barrier to House getting a hold of the orb, I don't think House is going to have any other choices. Oh no. I didn't really think about that. I usually make some brief notes when I'm doing my episode rundowns, but that one just popped into my head, and I've scared myself with that one. So I'm going to swiftly move along and pretend I didn't even theorize that. Anyway, while that discussion is going on, Ice Pack just takes a picture. Just gets a camera out, takes a picture of House through the window, uses that as his art piece. Yeah, I mean, I guess photography is art. So, yeah. Again, it's logic. Perhaps not exactly what House would have wanted, but, it's still, logic. Anywho, TNT confronts him about this. And then realizes that they only have 6 minutes left because Ice Pack mentions that they only have 6 minutes left because the Ice Pack saw House mention they only had 6 minutes left.
Ice Pack, you're using a camera?
You had your chance! Plus, we have 6 minutes left, so it was the quicker route.
6 minutes? Why do I keep doing this? How am I gonna...
Yo, TNT, how's the painting going?
It's finished, but I only have 6 minutes left to finish mine.
Oh, and TNT's realization of this just reminds me of And again, I don't like making too many connections between other shows and stuff like that, but sometimes it's just in my head, and I just have to say it. And I'm sorry, this is another BFDI connection. It just reminds me of Buck. The amount of times Buck has lost challenges because she's either too busy looking after other people or that kind of thing. That's what it reminds me of. And do you know what? That's probably one of the reasons TNT's up there in my favorites list in this show. She's such a sweetheart, but it's going to cost her. So anyway, now TNT only has 6 minutes to try and do her art piece. Well, let's see how that goes. But Broccoli does give TNT the picture of the house that was outside, the one that TNT was chasing earlier. But then Broccoli realizes that, hey, I think this is Sticky did this. So Sticky actually has a picture of House, has been making notes about House. So Sticky's also been spying. We did see that at the end of all but one. We see Sticky looking at House from behind a bush, the classic, and from behind the bush, spying. So yeah, she has been following them around and trying to see what their deal is. Again, that also makes me concerned for Sticky. Because House surely knows. Maybe Sticky's sneaky than maybe Sticky's sneaky enough, maybe. But if House finds out on top of everything else, yeah, yikes. Okay, I've got to get away from this thought. I'm going to keep scaring myself with it. So TNT then makes a paper cut of House for her art, which I think is really cool.
We have 6 minutes left, so this will do.
So yeah, maybe not as good as the lovely art piece that she made for Broccoli, but it's still something. She's still got something done. But Toasty and House are then talking outside about Sticky when the pizza arrives. So they're just having a conversation, and then Toasty's like, hey, have you ever had pizza before? And House just looks a little bit irritated about this. You didn't say anything about pizza. Looks really like it's potentially as well because bringing outsiders into the situation, maybe just want to raise any suspicion that there's something odd going on inside this place. Doesn't want that to be a factor. So the pizza delivery guy disappears just as Ice Pack opens the door. And that's why when I had the discussion mostly with myself earlier about whether House is maybe actually surprisingly twist not bad, on this hand I'm like, you know what? No. It was clearly House that made the pizza delivery guy just go poof. So yeah, okay. Forget any theories I had about House potentially being good. And then House just casually announces it's time to rate the pictures now. Like nothing ever happened. Good way to distract everybody from what just happened, by the way. Everybody just totally forgets about the pizza because the important things are happening now. Anywho, let's go. Let's rate these pictures, shall we? Croissanti gets 3 out of 10.
What?
Sorry, Toasty. 4 out of 10. Broccoli, well, let's be honest, TNT gets 9 out of 10. Despite the colours not being right, because Croissanti spilled all of the red paint at the beginning of the episode. But it's very artistically done. TNT is really good at drawing. See, TNT wasn't lying about being an artist. It's just a shame she didn't really get to use her own art for herself in this episode. Never mind. Toasty gets good old solid 7 out of 10. Pretty good with the ice cubes and everything, you know. Pretty good picture. While Ice Pack's photograph of House... the hyper-realism, as Ice Pack tries to pass it off as, gets a 2 out of 10. A very deserved 2 out of 10. TNT's picture gets 6.7 out of 10. So, with the top 2 being the safe ones, that means Broccoli wins the challenge and Toasty is safe in second. It was so close, wasn't it? Toasty got 7 and that paper cut by TNT got 6.7. That's so close. So close. Dang it. So anyway, that means TNT, Croissanti and Ice Pack are all up for elimination. And that's it. That was the episode. Very strong, very solid. Continuing the theme in the first episode of just being the equally silly and sinister. It's got both of those things going on, and I really like that contrast that goes on. You've got these silly moments, and then House just has like a mini moment. And Sticky had a few moments as well, so it's interesting. We're setting up pretty good here. I really, it's also a trope that main characters tend to get voted out early in object shows. But I'll be honest with you, I do like out of the three that were up for elimination. Look, all right, I wouldn't mind if Croissante or Ice Pack went out. To be honest, like. Croissante is a very one-note character. Think, like I already mentioned this. Think Rocky, right? They only say one word, queso. And Ice Pack's just mean for the sake of being mean. I don't think Ice Pack's had any like redeeming moments yet. And it's like I know, I'm buying into the trope myself by voting for the main characters to go out, and I did vote for Ice Pack to go out. So. I apologize. Sometimes it's nice to have a main character sticking around to kind of maintain the balance between personalities, I guess. If you just have a show full of all nice characters, you've got to turn one of them mean at some point to keep that balance going. Because everybody's just super nice, then I guess it's hard to raise conflicts in challenges. But then Broccoli's little scheming in this episode sets her up as kind of a villainous character too, potentially further down the line. So if Ice Pack goes out, Broccoli could fill the gap. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Go check out Orbit. It's really fun. It's really cool. This was another solid episode. Congrats to the team. It was really fun to watch. And looking forward to episode 3. All right, quick update on maukitt now. And, it was your birthday this week? I hope you had an awesome birthday. I look, and fair warning, anybody else whose birthday is out there, I will celebrate your birthdays too. So be warned, I will do it if you mention it. No, honestly, I hope you have had a great day, maukitt, and I hope you have an awesome year ahead. Onwards and upwards with Sacrificially Solitary and everything else that you've got going on. Yeah. Happy birthday. Okay, next we do have an update from Trinitine. It's been quite a while. Trinitine has been busy doing other things. Totally understandable. Let me get this update up here. This is going to be a full screen update because there's a lot of stuff on here. So let me just get this up here. So yeah, we've got an update for June, July, and August. And starting off with an apology. You don't need to apologize for not always being constantly present. It's not easy. I understand that. It's really hard to keep up on things sometimes. But, I understand I may not be the best at communication, but I promise I will try my best to communicate with you all more in the future. Decided to take some time out this summer to chill out and focus on my own health, which in turn did hinder progress. But that's fine. If you need to focus on your own health, you need to focus on your own health. And I've got to give props for realizing that. Because sometimes people just march on forwards and don't think about burnout, don't think about needing to take some time for yourself here and there. I've been trying to be better at it myself lately, and I honestly think this is a really healthy thing to do. But yeah, with everything considered, mixed with other complications like vacations and online summer classes, made it proceedingly more difficult to work on sempaternity as a whole, which again is fine. Real life is a thing that happens. Real life has to take precedent, really, doesn't it? I mean, there's not really much you can do about it. You've got to do your real life stuff before you do this other stuff, unless this becomes your real life thing. That's the thing. It's like for me in doing these videos, this isn't my main thing. This isn't my real life thing. This is my comfort stuff. Actually, I feel super honored that I get to just do this because I want to do this, and that I've had such a fun time of it so far, and long may that continue. And I just hope that Trinitine gets to at least have fun doing this stuff and doesn't feel like obligated or stressed or feel like they need to provide stuff to us. It's like whenever you can, you can. I also decided instead of doing monthly progress updates, I would instead do quarterly, aka every 3 months. So from now on, progress updates are going to be bigger and better. So we can expect another one of these in November, early December-ish. So I think that's not a bad idea either, bundling stuff up like that. Because sometimes as well, if you have a regular update schedule, sometimes you might not have anything to talk about. So splitting it up into bigger chunks is bigger time periods is probably not a bad idea. Been doing more voice acting on the side as well. Check out my second channel for some of that. Oh, cool. Yes, Trinitine does do some VA work as well, as do a lot of object show creators, I've noticed. So that's really fun. Music and stuff. Oh yeah, you might not know this, but I also make music from time to time. Recently been working on releasing an entire 8-track album, which I've been putting in a lot of effort for. So be on the lookout for that. Cool, another music creator as well. And again, that's usually object show creators tend to lean into that quite a lot as well. So it's all these multi-talented people, and it's so cool. And I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by so many people in the object show community. Honestly, it's really cool. Sepaternity updates. I guess this is the main one for object show Roundup, isn't it? Not only have I gotten a consistent art style for both the backgrounds, I also now have an art style for the characters and animation now too. Hooray! I will be going through and redoing all the assets for the show to match the more consistent art style, which I'm very excited for. There's some little examples in there too. That's really cool. I like that. And then, oh yeah, the 1,000 subscribers update, which I think... Did I mention that on the episodes? I think I might have done. Geez, did I? I remember what I talked about in previous episodes because I'm useless. But anyway, holy smokes, can't believe I hit 1,000 subs. I will most certainly be working on a video for that in the future. Already have an idea. Just need to go somewhere to record it. Ooh, intriguing. I wonder what that means. I guess we'll see at some point. And finally here, the project maxing. Basically, just to recap everything, now working on 4 projects at the same time. Said Paternity, Object Improv, new album, 1,000 sub video, which may be a good idea or a really bad idea. Wish me luck. Good luck, Trinitine. I believe in you. You can get all of this done. But also, at the same time, please don't stretch yourself too thin. Please don't stress yourself out. And please don't burn yourself out. If you need to take a little step away from one or all of those projects again for a while, honestly, just do it if you need to. But thank you so much for the update. Really appreciate this one. This was a nice chunky update. Very good. All right, over to Wuggolo now, and we did get the thumbnail for King of Hearts. I think there might be some fishing involved in this episode. What do you think? Perhaps something to do with fishing? Maybe, potentially? Yeah, I mean, clearly that's going to be the first challenge. Is going to be something to do with that. But I don't really know still what the overall concept of the show is. It does seem to be some kind of romancy, lovey-dovey kind of stuff going on. I'm excited. This will also be out by the time this video comes out, so you may have already watched it. If you haven't, I guess go and watch it, because I'll be talking about it in the next episode. It's fun to already have 2 things to be talking about in the next episode. We already know now we're going to be talking about Object Invasion 6 and King of Hearts 1. Not Lock version, but Heart version. Really looking forward to both of these. And honestly, I hope Object Invasion 6 comes out first, because I'm hoping that King of Hearts can be a nice palate cleanser, because I think Object Invasion 6 is going to be a little bit tough to stomach. Just a feeling I've got. We also got this little post as well, just to round things off here, just this little fun little mini clip here, and the whole 1 kiss, 2 kiss, all kiss, new kiss, the 1 fish, 2 fish. Again, the fishing references. There's a fishing rod here. I think we've nailed down some of what's going to happen in episode 1 of King of Hearts. Okay, and that is it for episode 9 of Object Show Roundup. As always, thanks everybody and anybody who's decided to hang out and watch this episode. Please, I don't like saying this stuff, but apparently it does help. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. Share this around. Share it with other Object Show community friends of yours and say, hey, look at this doofy old dude talking about episodes of object shows and stuff. Hopefully, I have inspired people to check out some new shows, new creators. That's always one of the aims here, because, you know, I do talk about the bigger channels, but I'm also here to try and platform the smaller ones. That is my aim. That is my intention. So hopefully I am helping with that in some regard. And one last reminder, please donate to my Trevor project campaign if you can, or share it around if you can. Let's see if we can get to $100 before the end of the weekend. That would be a really cool little thing. Let's try and break this up into chunks of targets. Let's try and get to 100, because that's the first challenge target. So let's see if we can get to 100. That would be awesome. And yeah, that'll be everything. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Thank you again for being here. Love and appreciate all of you. Keep watching Object Shows. And I'll see you next time for episode 10. 10 already. Wow. All right, toodles.